stand if you will, please. Page 329, Standing on the Promises. Our music has 1, 3, and 5. Just bear with us on that. So verses 1, 3, and 5. Standing on the Promises, 329.
Standing on the promises of Christ my King, through eternal ages let His praises ring. Glory in the highest I will shout and sing, standing on the promises of God. Standing, standing on the promises of God, my Savior. I'm standing on the promises of God. Standing on the promises I now can see. Perfect praise and cleansing in the blood for me. Standing in the liberty where Christ makes free. Standing on the promises of God. Standing, standing on the promises of God, my Savior. Standing, I'm standing on the promises of God. Standing on the promises I cannot fall. Listening every moment to the Spirit's call. Resting in my Savior as my all in all. Standing on the promises of God. Standing, standing on the promises of God, my Savior. Standing on the promises, I'm standing on the promises of God.
Sometimes when you're using electronics, they don't work exactly like they're supposed to. That just happened to be one of those times the music didn't play right, and so forgive us for that, but we enjoyed the song anyway. I'm glad we can stand on the promises of God.
Amen.
And I was going to share with you a little bit. I was noticing on the news all the statistics and the death from the virus that's going around. They made a pretty big deal out of John Glenn's wife passing away. Said she died from COVID-19, and then went on to tell that her age was just a little over 100. So it evidently didn't cheat her out of too many days, and a lot of the statistics they're quoting, that is the age factor and so forth. And by the way, and in case somebody hadn't told you lately, we're not going to live forever. We're going to die. It's appointed unto men once to die. Outside barring the second coming of Christ, you and I are going to face it. Some may face it earlier than others, and some have already outslipped us and gone home. And so I know that's the fact. But just stop worrying about the things going on. Use common sense, and I think everything's going to be all right. We just got to act according to it there. I wanted to share with you a little bit today. I will say that it's good to have those in the parking lot, you and yours as well. At least I can see you. Last Sunday morning, my choir and those that was helping me left me, come into church. I couldn't see us all because the sun was shining on the windshield. Didn't know whether anybody else or not, but it turned out there was. But anyhow, today I to you. It's easier to preach to you than it is to empty pews, and so I appreciate those that's been helping me during this time getting our tapes together and our music together, all of that. They've been staying in when I was preaching inside the church and being here to help me out, and I wasn't preaching empty pews, so it worked out good. I appreciate you as the church and what you did, and God keeps blessing, and I appreciate that. The ladies wanted me to share with you that they're trying to get with their food drive and get enough to help 50 families as they can. Those that are having needs, and particularly now that school's going to be out, I think most of the kids are either finished up or going to in the next week, and so we'll be helping some of those families and so forth. So that's what the food drive is all about, and I appreciate the ladies working on that. That's what they're doing, trying to get it together. Appreciate the church thinking of others. Gary mentioned in our Sunday school, excuse me, that think of others more than ourselves, and the author had wrote in the lesson and said that they didn't have to tell us it's time to eat or anything else. I think staying home, and some of us have stayed home too much and wonder if we get out through the door and we've eaten too much. So it's maybe we need to maybe look at it a little bit different. And so if you're hearing and knowing what's going on, these fellows are working on some other things, trying to get it cleared up. So you just bear with us. Now, if you have your Bible, I want you to turn in the 32nd chapter of Genesis. I want to share with you a little bit. And I want to maybe, as my introduction to this, I want you to think about what a prayer is. And sometimes we look at Webster, and most of the people says that a prayer is no more than a sincere desire of the heart. When I was reading about Jacob's life, he was dead, had been, he deceived Esau and he fled. Rachel had him to flee, and when he was coming back home, God told him to go home, that he was going to give him the land. Just before he met Esau, he got in a serious way. He didn't know how Esau would respond to him, because he had actually deceived. Esau had traded him the birthright, but he deceived her dad into getting the blessing of the family. And then he had to flee, and when he was on his way home, God had blessed him tremendously. He had received the blessings of God, and he's on the way home, and maybe the last night, after he divided his camp and came to the place to where he knew that he was going to have to fight against Esau, and he had made all these provisions. Then all of a sudden, the last desire of his heart, he wanted to go talk to God. I think sometimes you and I, as Christians, are almost the same way. We do everything we can. We go as far as we can go. We try to accomplish all we can and turn to God in last, when we should have turned to God in the beginning. We should have sought him first. Maybe Esau was, as Jacob was, as Esau's son and so forth, maybe he should have sought God a lot more than he did. He felt he was in harmony with God. God had told him to go back to the land, what he had in mind for him to do, and what he was going to give him, and all of that. But sorry he put God's supper aside. He wanted to trust in the arm of flesh, and wanted to pray last. I hope that you and I, during this time, and for those that are sick and those in the hospital, that we have been praying and asking God first instead of last. We've sort of got our world turned upside down, so to speak, and got us out of our comfort zone. And the telling of me last Sunday morning, as we met Thursday night and was working, trying to get this all together, I wanted them to know this is not what I had really envisioned when all of this took place, sharing on the internet as we are, sharing the other ways and so forth, took me out of my comfort zone. That's what I was talking about a moment ago. Preaching to empty pews or empty parking lot was not my ideal. But God's trying to show me some things, and as the more I prayed, the more God opened things up to me that I could see maybe this is what God had in mind in the beginning by allowing this to happen, that we had come out of there. For the first time in years, the church was out of the building. You know, and when I say the church, I'm talking about the born-again believer. We're out of the church, out in the world, and maybe we should have been doing a great deal for God. I hope that you and I come to the place to where maybe when we get out of our comfort zone, we'll begin to do things like we should. And so I encourage you that we would get out of our comfort zone. We do things for the Lord. We've been in the church so long, and folks, we were maybe religious in the church. We were good Christians in church. But when we left the building, we sort of left it behind. I believe God's trying to get us to reach out. And I believe the number one step He's wanting us to do is to learn to trust Him and to seek His face. Now, folks, it's easy for me to say, well, I'll do this way, or you'll say I'll do it my way. But I think we're to be looking to God for His way, what He wants us to do, and the route He wants us to go. Now, you come, Jacob out of coming, and he gets almost there. Well, he calls the place Peniel. He comes down in the 32nd chapter, and he begins to seek the face of God. He began to wrestle with God with his problems. I think maybe I've been there, and I think I need to be there more as I seek God's face, what He would have me to do and where He'd have me to turn. I believe Christians should today that we be looking to God with a sincere desire that God would lead us. Jacob said, he was just simply asking God to help him as he met Esau. Today you and I are meeting some Esau's in our life that we need to be sharing the message with. We need to be telling them what God has done for us rather than some of the other stuff that we're talking about. So in the 32nd chapter, starting with the 24th verse, and Jacob was left alone. Now, folks, let me share with you. Our greatest time is when we seek the face of God by ourselves. We need that place of prayer. We need to come and by ourselves. And I like our corporate prayer. When we come together, we pray together. Like I tell the men sometimes when I call them, I say, fella, let's just get together and pray about things. I like that. But boy, there needs to be that time that we come together alone and seek the face of God for our individual lives, what God wants us to do and where He wants us to go, and what He would have us to do once we get there. I shared with you a couple of weeks ago about God very possibly got every one of us living in the day that we're in to see what needs to be done, where we need to go. I encourage you to pray and to seek God's face. Have that place of prayer. Then, folks, make it a habit of praying there. Make it a place that when you just get along with God, let God talk to you. Sometimes we need to pray to God. Then sometimes we need to stop and let God speak to us about what He's wanting us to do. Most of us have an attitude of prayer. We begin to pray all of our wants and all of our desires, and we forget to listen for God to talk to us. Sometimes we need to have that alone time that we can just stop in the midst of our prayer and let God speak to us. Sometimes He needs to teach us what to pray. Sometimes God has to, God said He knows our need, but He said we have not because we ask not. We need to come together in a moment and let God just speak to us and lead us in where He'd have us to go. Here comes Jacob down, he come along. He was left alone. He was in a moment and a time that he was going to have to deal with God on his own. You and I need to be dealing with God on our own. We need to have some personal time with him. And I know he speaks to us out of his word. But I believe there's times that still small voice, when we're praying, if we'll just stop and listen, God's wanting to share with us some things. He's wanting us to point us in the direction he'd have us to go. I believe our church is coming to the place at this time. God's wanting us to look to him and let him point us where he'd have us to go and what he'd have us to do. So many times we do our thing and forget to ask God what he would have us to do. Sometimes we get in our rush to do things our way and forget what God wants us to do. It goes further than that, not only say left alone, and there wrestled the man with him until the breaking of day. And when he saw that he could prevail not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint, and he wrestled with him. And he said, let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. Notice, Jacob was still praying a selfish or seeking selfish motives. Church, I hope that we can come to the place to where we can, instead of seeking what we want or what is selfish for us, well, maybe what's good for us, but we can pray what's good for our country and those around. Well, we're dealing with people every day that are lost, that needs Christ. Have we prayed God touch them? Jacob was beginning to pray in a selfish mode. God, I want you to bless me. I prayed it. I like God's blessing. Well, let me tell you something. I get excited when God passes by and I'm blessed by it. But how big a blessing are we to those around us? Don't have to be fancy and eloquent of speaking. We don't have to be something great. We can be a blessing by just being ourselves. And I believe Jacob was wanting to be blessed. But I believe he should have been thinking, and I think what his thoughts and mind was, and maybe I'm reading between the lines on it a little bit, he sent all these gifts to his brother that he might could be blessed, that things would be good between him and his brother. He had thought about him and doing for him, but I think he had selfish motives within him. He still wanted to be blessed more than anything. That's the way you and I, as Christians, sometimes we get in this selfish mode. God bless me. Forget about the others. I'm the one important. I hope that you and I realize that God is the one that's important. We're not too important.
Amen.
We serve God, worship him, and praise him, seek his praise. Then for the first time can we really be what God wants us to be. I believe God's challenging his church today. I believe almost as Jacob was challenged to seek the face of God, I believe you and I need to seek. Wrote down some others in the Bible that began to have a desire. They began to pray that things would work out different and in the right direction. I believe you and I today need to be praying, God, in our land that we're in, help us to lead people to you. Help us to point the way to Calvary by the way that we're living and being. I believe that we ought to be praying, God, here am I, take me, use me, send me to a lost and dying world. I read about Jacob and how he wanted God to bless him and maybe his selfish prayer. Let's not be praying all these selfish prayers. Let's be praying, God, use me to be a blessing to those around me. The world is going through some desperate times. Doesn't mean we have to do all these things financial. And we can be just the light to uplift Christ's name to those around us. standing up and being counted as one of God's children and flying the flag of Christianity and showing love to those around us. One of the others that I wanted to think about was Elisha. He almost prayed a selfish prayer. As I mention these, I want to show you sometimes how Christians, even though maybe biblical and standard and so forth, we're not careful. We become selfish. Elisha was walking with Elijah. If you want to go read it, you go down to 2 Kings, the 2nd chapter, and you read all about it. And Elijah was going to be taken away, which was taken in the whirlwind. He made about 4 stops as he's going along. But his selfish desire was, I want a double portion of what Elijah has. Now he used it. I want you to remember the story. Elisha performed exactly twice as many miracles as Elijah did. That is recording the Word of God. His selfish mode was, God, I want a double portion of your Spirit in my life. Nothing wrong with that prayer. Nothing wrong if we'll seek the face of God and be filled with the Spirit of God. Let Him use us. We can accomplish great things. Not just pray it just for our selfish mode. So we need to watch our prayer life. We need to be careful within our desire. And if we pray for something, then pray that God will help us to use it to uplift Him and to bring honor and glory. Elijah told Elisha, said, tarry here or there. He refused to tarry anywhere or stay unless he was with the Lord. You and I need to be with God today. We need to be filled with His Spirit. Maybe pray for a double portion that we can be used by God to share the message of Jesus Christ to a lost and dying world. They're lost without Christ. They have a greater need than we do, but we need to be sharing the message. Elijah was going to share. He was going to perform the miracle, twice as many miracles. He was asking for a double portion that he could accomplish things for God. When our prayer, if it's going to be selfish, then we need to pray God to use that you give me to be a blessing to those around me. Help me to be a light to those around me. Well, let me tell you something. You and I need to come out of our comfort zone and stand up and be counted and let the Spirit of God lead us in our lives to accomplish things. Not only that, but I want to talk to you for a moment about Solomon. Now, Solomon didn't, maybe his selfish prayer, he was praying, he wanted something. He wanted an understanding heart. Church, we need an understanding heart today in the day we're living in. That we understand the time and what's going on. That we look around us and see what God's trying to tell us or where God's trying to lead us and where He's trying to put us to accomplish things for Him. Solomon said that I may lead the people. Guess what, church? We're all to be leaders for God. We're all to be leaders that we can stand up and to share the message and to take it to the world that's dying without Christ. You and I need to be like Solomon. God, give us a heart to understand and to know when you're wanting me to share things with those around you. I like the testimony Jim gave. Said God deal with you. Thought he was going to be a blessing to someone else, but God had other things in mind. You and I, sometimes we may think, well, maybe I can go do this to help somebody be a blessing to them. Guess what? Most of the time, God's got a blessing for you. Amen. Solomon said, give me that heart that I can understand, wisdom that I know how to lead the people. Church, I believe it's time that we begin to pray, God, give us an understanding heart. Give us knowledge to know how to lead those to Christ. That you give me a burden, Father, and give me the understanding, give me a broken heart that I can share and understand and let the world know that how bad they need Christ. Because without Him, they're doomed. Without Him, they're lost. Without Him, they're give us an understanding heart. Maybe not only give us the Spirit of God to lead us, but an understanding heart how God can use us. Sometimes we take things wrong. Sometimes we don't really see the opportunity that God's giving to us. So a few weeks ago we were meeting for prayer on Tuesday morning. We prayed God to open a door that we might share the faith to the group that was there. There's probably 10 or 12 free. I didn't even make it from there to Walmart till God had already opened the door to me to share with a fellow that I knew was lost. Let me tell you something, folks. When we get serious about it, God give us an understanding heart that we might share the message. Get ready. God's going to open some doors. Amen. He's got you there for a purpose in a time like this. Not only Solomon, not only Elisha and Jacob, but folks, I want you to think about Nehemiah. And I want you to stop for a moment. Nehemiah was brokenhearted when he heard the shape of Jerusalem. Folks, I know God's breaking our heart for our country. Some time ago, when they done the latest survey, probably it's done in the county that I know about, it was almost 58% of Vice County people that have no relationship with God. Folks, I believe that we'll be like Nehemiah. Boy, when we hear the news from home, it ought to touch our home. It ought to touch our lives. We should realize God has a great work for us to do. Nehemiah, just being a small cupbearer, didn't have much. Didn't have anything to go out and build. To build the walls of Jerusalem back, to build the gates back. But the Bible said he waited for several days. He was brokenhearted. Church, I believe it's time we got brokenhearted for our county. I believe it's time God broke our hearts. We can see our land in the shape it's in. I know we have a lot of outsiders that's coming. Guess what? God sent them to us. We didn't go to them. He sent us to us. We need to be sharing Christ with them. We need to be like Nehemiah. We wait to God till God helped us to do what needs to be done. I believe the kingdom of heaven needs to be built here in Nice County. I believe God wants to save these folks that are lost. But I believe He's waiting on His people to get down to business. I don't believe Nehemiah had ever went before the king and asked permission to go build walls back. If he had to, God hadn't had to break his heart first till he got down to heart in the mission. I believe you and I need to be broken-hearted enough we'd want to share the message. Now, folks, let me tell you something. We can build a wall of faith around us if we'll begin to share the message of Christ for the lost and dying world. When Nehemiah began to pray, God supplied him everything he needs. You and I, He's done shared all we need. Hallelujah. I'm glad that when Christ died on the cross of Calvary, that's all we really need. Boy, what He saved us, He gave us enough love of God in our heart we ever share it with those around us. I believe God ought to break our heart when we see the shape that our country's in. I've shared with you many times, some of our young people are involved in drugs, and it's so sad. Wonder how many of us are spending any time awake praying for them that's lost, don't know Christ. Well, I tell you what, I believe it's time God helped us to see the walls are broke down. I believe it's time to see that it's time the church took up its cross and began to work for God. Not only that, but if you read about Esther's prayer, she prayed. Before she went to the king, she knew it could cost her life. But let me tell you something. I don't think there's a person, probably might be some, but I've never met one, that if we'd stop and take time to tell them about Jesus, that would get upset with us, but would tell us they appreciate us hearing and to share the message of Christ with them. I believe Esther knew it could cost her life. For she pleaded for the Jewish people that they not be destroyed. Well, I believe we need to pray for our County people that they're not destroyed by sin. Sin's devil's raging, running wild. He's wanting to destroy our counties, destroyed. I believe you and I need to be building that wall. We need to be standing up and being counted for. Then lastly, I want you to think about one more desire. One more man in the Bible that had a desire. And that was a thief that was dying on the cross beside of Christ. With his desire, he openly made that Christ himself. He said, when you come into your kingdom, said you remember me. Boy, I like Christ's answer. Hallelujah, that's what he said to me. When I was willing to bow and confess my sin and ask him to come in, he said, you'll be with me. Hallelujah. I'm glad God makes us a promise. That thief began to plead with him, made his desire known. Prayer, as I said, it is a sincere desire of the heart. I believe, boy, when he began to talk to the Master, he was poor, talking from the bottom of his heart. But God, remember me. He said, you didn't deserve what you're going through, and I do, but he said, would you remember me? Hallelujah, Christ told him he would. Christ didn't turn me away. He'll not turn you away. He'll not turn those that are lost that are around him. If they'll come and call on his name, he wants to save them. He says, it's not my will that any perish, but all come into repentance. Well, God's wanting this lost country. I know our world has a lot of lost people. I know a lot of places may be worse than that. But boy, this is our mission field. Christ in the 28th chapter of Matthew made the last commission, the Great Commission. He told them to start at Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, and the othermost parts of the world. Boy, it's no problem for me to raise money for missions. You reach out and do it. Boy, I tell you what, Jerusalem is where we need to be working. We don't have to have a missionary. We don't have to have an interpreter. Maybe certain cases, but most of the time, we can just tell somebody about Jesus Christ. I believe that today, our mission is Ashe County. Then we can split out and go other places, but boy, I believe number one, we ought to be working where we're at. Mordecai told Esther, said, who knows, God may have put you where you're at for this very time. God may have put you where you're at for this very time that you can begin to share the message of Christ with the lost and dying world. The Apostle Paul taught us that we were to be mission-minded no matter where we went. Boy, I hope we are. I believe our desire is that we would be used by God. I encourage you, pray. Say, God, you're mine. Take me, use me. One of the prophets, he called and said, I'm a man of unclean lips and all of that. The angel took the firebrand off the coals, touched his lips, and that's an unclean, call it unclean. Boy, let me tell you something. God cleansed us. We're to be sharing that with the lost world. We're to be easy about the Father's word. We're to be free. Saying, God, you're mine. Use me. Take me. God, open that door and help me to see it. Help me to be like Solomon, to have understanding heart and know what you show us. Because we run in contact with those folks daily. Out of half the people you meet in Walmart that you greet, many of them, you say, a lot of them I know are Christian. But the other half are not. What are we doing for Christ? Are we really got a desire to serve Him? Have we really prayed and asked Him to lead us? Yeah, we need to. We need to be that God wants us to. Let us bow for a word of prayer. Father, I thank you for this time we've had. God, may our desire be to serve you. God, I pray that you might challenge us as a church and as individuals. God, that you would help us to reach out, to be a light for you. God, may our prayer life become maybe almost selfish to the fact that we're saying, here we, use us. Father, you've blessed us. I praise you and thank you for that. You've blessed our church. I give you honor, and I give you thanks for that you've done. But God, I pray now that you could help us to serve you. Let your have right away in our hearts and lives. God, help us be a light to those around us. God, I know we're living in a difficult time, a difficult day. But God, this should be the hour to realize the need that, Father, somebody might slip out to meet you before they accept you. So, God, I pray you'd encourage us. Help us to be a light. Help us to be a witness. Father, help us to pray for that understanding heart. And then, Father, let you use it. God, now I pray you'd have your way. We'll praise you for that you do. For it's in Christ's name we pray. Amen. Amen. We hope that you'll pray. Just let God use you. We do want to say that we appreciate our veterans. We appreciate those that give the ultimate sacrifice for us. I said, probably not one of us has had to do this. I grew up in the Vietnam era. A lot of my family, my close friends, a lot of my classmates paid the ultimate sacrifice. I want us this day to maybe remember them, pray for their families, that they're going through a time to do it in remembrance. Let's pray God to bless them in a special way. Maybe you know somebody's lost a loved one. Call them, tell them you're thinking about them today. Tell them you appreciate the sacrifice that was made. I appreciate the sacrifice that was made that I could be free. That I could be in America, in the place that they fought for our country and our flag. And I want us just to be so thankful and maybe share with someone else. Let them know that we appreciate the sacrifice that was made. This is a day that's set aside to honor them, so let's do it. Now, let me share with you this morning, one of the guidelines to our service is that we're to be dismissed a few at a time, walk 6 foot apart as you go out. You can start in the front. If you want to go out this way, you can. If you have your offering, we didn't receive offering in here, they did outside. You want to put it in the bucket at the table, you feel free to do it. We'll go out this way, they will all be going in one direction, and that's what they ask us to do. So if you come in and you're a Baptist and you sit down in the back, you'll be last to leave. That's good. So if you will, as she turns off our camera, we're going out. So if you will.